know, when this group will leave in the table, they will just set up all the things that I will use in order to explain you. So before that, we will start by the third most important agriculture product of this area, that is the coca, right? First of all, for most of the time, for most of the people, first thing that comes to your mind when we start talking about coca is the cocaine. Sweet!
I need like a horn or something. And she got perch.
I just love the accent.
Right. So, most of the times, first thing you think about is the cocaine. So that's why we will start by that part of this case. The cocaine was created in 1879 by a German doctor, of course, in Germany. And please don't believe that his name was Johan. Of course, he was another one. So he created cocaine basically from coca leaves, mixing different, well, like in this case, horrible ingredients with the coca leaves. Some of the most important ones are the gasoline, fertilizers, rat poisons, and F3 acid. I guess it's the only one that they use in order to destroy metal. Or a really horrible. So you have to mix all these ingredients with the coca leaves in order to get cocaine.
I didn't know that.
So most of this sounds horrible. So that's why from 23 kilograms of coca leaves, you just get 1 gram of cocaine. 23 kilograms of these little leaves.
Wow.
So that's a lot. In Peru, the coca leaves are growing up completely legal. It's no problem in order to grow up your coca leaves in your farm, but there is a couple of important rules. First of all, you are not allowed to plant more than half of an hectare with coca leaves. No more than half of an hectare. And after you dry your coca leaves, because in order to use the coca leaves for whatever you guys want, they have to be dry for at least 1 week in places like this. This is where they normally dry their different products. So after you dry it, you sell it, or you have to sell it to the police, to one special part of the police and the government called ENACO, the National Company of the Coca. So that's how the government is controlling the production of cocaine in Peru, with these two important rules. 70% of our production stays in Peru, and another 30% is being used for cocaine, the narco traffic, but out of Peru. We do illegal exportations of this 30% to Mexico and Colombia. Right, chicos? About 5 years ago, the UN started to stop the churning and actually disappear the plantations of coca leaves in South America. They did it in Colombia, they tried to do it in Bolivia and in Peru, but they just got it in Colombia. In Peru, when the government decided to do this, to disappear all the coca plantations, the farmers didn't accept that, and they actually did a big battle against the army. So it was a big battle between the Peruvian army and the farmers. It was in one area in the north of Peru called Bagua. We have about 69 dead people between cops and farmers. Right after that, they got a good deal and they created these two really important rules that we still keeping until the moment. Right, chicos? So about the cocaine, do you have any questions? Right, now let's talk about the nicest, or actually the real information and history of the coca leaves. Its scientific name is Erythroxylum coca lam. It's original from Peru. It was moved to Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, part of Chile during the expansion of the Incas territory. Grows up in tropical places since 400 meters above sea level until the 2000 meters. highest point where we can find coca leaves are in Machu Picchu. That is at 2,400. We can actually find it over there because there is like a small garden where the tourists can see the coca leaves. But something that you will see really clear is that these ones are the regular size of coca leaves around here. In Machu Picchu, the biggest one I guess is like this size.
Oh.
They are really tiny. Why? Because the weather is not good for coca leaves up there, right? The coca leaves, I'm totally sure you guys already heard, and it's really good for altitude sickness, to make you get some energy, to don't be hungry really quick, so especially when you're doing like outdoor, we eat a lot of coca, prevents altitude sickness. Then, of course you don't know this, but it's really good for stomach ills, problems with the muscles, problems with the bones. It helps for a lot of things. Actually, it's kind of rare, actually impossible to believe that it helps, not by itself most of the time, also sometimes you have to mix it, helps for every single thing. So the coca leaves, every single coca leaf has like 14 alkaloids. So 14 different parts, all of them working in your body, make a good work of your whole body, muscles, nervous systems and all that. Only one of these 14 is the really famous cocaine. So that's why when they mix all these products, they have to disappear the other 13 and they are really useful for us. And the only one that is left is the only one that they keep for this drug. So these are the coca leaves. How does the Incas use the coca leaves? Well, before I will start to explain to you about this really famous and important culture from South America, there is an important thing that you guys have to know, and it's actually the real name of this culture. The word Inca, Sapa Inca or Capac Inca is the name of the leader, the king. So only the king was called Inca, guys. The rest of the inhabitants of this state, it was an empire, they don't bite. The rest of the just hit it, go tell them. They don't bite, just hit it away. The rest of the inhabitants of this state weren't Incas, guys. They were called the Quechua people. Like this really famous brand in Spain, France, and really new in England and Brazil, Quechua, the same way, the Quechua people. And it's actually also the dialect that these people spoke during this time. So it was the Quechua people and their leader, the Inca. The name of this culture in general is the Tawantinsullana culture. Where does this really long and difficult name comes from? It comes from the name of the Quechua's people state. The state of these people was called Tawantinsuyo. Tawa is 4, Inti is the sun, Suyos are regions. The 4 regions of the sun was the name of their state. So the culture is same of Peru, Peruvians. So Tawantinsuyo, Tawantinsuyana culture. But in order to make it easy in the next explanations, I will use the Inca or the Quechua's culture. You guys have to know the difference for different explanations. For example, the only ones allowed to chew the coca leaves in the Quechua's time were the Incas. The Incas, the estatal elite, so the people of the government, and the priests, the different priests that we had. Does the Quechuas were chewing coca leaves? Of course, they were chewing coca leaves, but just few times in the year when they were doing the mita. Mita was the obligatory work of every single person, like paying taxes to the government. So for example, when the Incas saw, well, this mountain looks nice for Machu Picchu, so he called everybody from 18 to 55 years old to Cusco in 1 month. So everybody was in Cusco. So he said, well, okay, we are doing these questions, let's go. Plum. And imagine how fast could you do a work, a building, with thousands of people, because in the brightest moment of the Quechua's culture, our population in total in all our state were of 18 millions. So it was a lot of people. Before we continue with the coca, this is a map of South America, and all the red part was the Quechua's people territory. It was starting in Pasto, Colombia in the north, and the Maule River at the south of Santiago de Chile. We can actually see that it has 4 different colors, the 4 different regions. Their names were Chinchaysuyu, Koyasuyu, Kontisuyu, and Antisuyu. Where we are right now is the Antisuyu, the jungle area. The capital of all this state was the city of Cusco, commonly called in these last 400 years or even more, like Cusco. Its official name, how the conquerors created, is with a C, Cusco. Now we prefer to use the S, so call it Cusco. Why? Because when the conquerors arrived, the Quechua people designed Cusco City with a shade of a really important animal for us. And it was actually a feline, a puma. It was divided in 3 parts. The head of the puma, and it was actually the really famous fortress of Sacsayhuaman, more famous with the other name of Sexy Woman, in top of Cusco City. Then Hanaj Cusco and Urin Cusco. It's like the high Cusco and the low Cusco. Cusco was starting around the main square Sapi and small part of San Blas, going all the way down until the end of Avenida El Sol, where there is a nice fountain right now and a really big handicraft center. So all this was doing a shade of a puma. Huacaipata, or the main square, was the heart of the puma. And then the Coricancha temple, or the temple of the sun, was the reproduction part of the puma. So all this was a puma. When the conquerors arrived, they couldn't understand, same like most of us, the ideology of the Quechua people. So they just told, no, this is not a puma. This is actually a dog. So they named it the city of the dog. Because if we check what does Cusco with a C means in a Spanish dictionary, it means a little puppy. That's why, because people from Cusco, archaeologists, history teachers, tour guides, we don't like that name. We're trying to use the S instead of the C. So it's Cusco. But if we check in GPSs, in the internet, in books, especially from foreigner writers, it will be Cusco with the C. So you already know this difference. Its real name used to be Cusco. Qosqo. What does Cusco means? For a lot of archaeologists of the last century, they used to say Cusco, the navel of the world. And we can find in different books, actually in Cusco's airport, welcome to Cusco, the navel of the world. But of course, if we check this map,
Navel. Like your belly button. Navel.
if we actually see the map, Cusco is the middle, so the navel of the world. But navel in Quechua is Puputi. Puputi and Cusco doesn't have any relation. So in the last 3 years, we just found the real meaning of Cusco. So where does the name comes from? Cusco comes from the word in Quechua, casco. Casco is the chest. So as the Quechua people want to say, is that Cusco was the heart of all the state. How could you know how big does your territory is going to be in order to put the center of your territory years before you start your expansion? It's completely impossible. So that's why the real origin of the name is from the word casco, or chest. right, chicos? Before we continue with the coca, one more little thing. Did you guys see this flag already?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah?
high.
You know which flag is this? Chicos? Cusco flag for many people. And well, now I ask you again, have you seen this flag before? You know which flag is it?
Cusco flag.
Have you been in Castro, San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
It's the
that's,
gay pro flag.
that's what we were like
Really?
thinking
But
that. We're like, no
But
way.
that's not what
I
it
was thinking
means.
Not
about that,
really,
but I
no,
couldn't
yeah.
say that. Couldn't be.
We know that it's the gay pro flag, but well, if we ask if there is a difference between Cusco flag and the gay pro flag, and it's yes, there is a difference. The lady will see that and she will kill it. So I prefer to just kill it and take it away. Right, chicos, sorry for that. Right, so this one is the Cusco flag. How does a gay pro flag looks like? Like this. Can you find the difference?
One of the straps, the lines are.
The lines are a bit wider and there is one color less in this one than in Cusco flag. You can see it if we just put it together. Right side is Cusco flag, left side is gay pro flag. So even if we see it together like this, it's hard to find the difference. I used to work with a big company called J&L Adventures, Gays and Lesbians Adventures. They were from San Francisco. So when they were arriving, well, I used to be guiding to these people for 1 or 2 months in South America. So I was going to pick them up in Argentina, Buenos Aires, with a sign, Pink Caravan. That was the name of the group. We have huge buses. It was also Pink Caravan. So we're traveling all around South America with their own buses. When they arrived to Cusco, they were like, started to jump, just get excited. Like, what's going on, guys? No, Johan, is that we picked this company in order to have like a good service and not get any discrimination. And we paid a lot of money for this tour. But we are so happy until this moment. But now that we just arrived to Cusco, we are just even more excited. So why? The company didn't need to do that. To do what? We can see our flag everywhere. It's like they love us in Cusco. Say like, well, actually, that's Cusco flag. No, Johan, it's the gay pro flag. No, it's the Cusco flag. Look, it's our flag. I said, yeah, look the difference. Oh, Jesus, yeah, it has a difference. So if even the gays confuse these flags, how comes and the rest of the world is gonna find a difference? So why does it make me feel that much anger in order to say no, both of them are the gay pro flag? Then we have a flag from the Quechua's time. We have a real Quechua's people flag, a real Cusco flag, and we don't use it. People of Bolivia use this flag everywhere. The army, the cops, in the government. The name of this flag is the Huipala. And the Huipala is the real Quechua's people flag. That's why I prefer to call to both of these pictures that we already saw before, like the gay pro flag. How does the real Quechua's people flag looks like, or the Huipala? It's like this. So if you are going to Bolivia, you will see it everywhere. If you already been in Bolivia, for sure you will recognize it. So this one, guys, is the real Quechua's people flag. The other two are the gay pro flag. Right, chicos? Is that clear? Well, now let's come back to our main point, and it's the coca leaves. In the Quechua's time, the coca leaves, as I already tell you, were basically and mainly used by the Inca and the most important people, the high society of this state. The regular Quechua people were using it only when they were doing the mita, or this important type of work that these people had. A part of chewing coca leaves, the Quechua people were also using the leaves for medicine. Mixing it with other products like muña, chiri chiri, they were doing like a cream for the muscles. Using it dry, mix it with gold, a small plaque of gold. They were using it like an emplace in order to put it in top of the different holes, and they were doing with the trepanaciones. So it was like the surgeries to the brain or to the skull in order to make it grow up faster because the percentage of calcium than these leaves have. So they were being used a lot of times for the medicine, but only for the most important people of this state. A third way how these people used to use the coca leaves were in order to see the future, to predict the future. How does these people used to do that? The people in church to see the future in the coca leaves were called Pacos. The Pacos were priests of the Andes. So when these people need to read the leaves, how we call it, they were putting a blanket like this, of course a bit smaller, and getting the coca leaves like this in his hand and just let it fall. Depends on the way how they fall, in the color, or if they are broken, or if they are mixed together, they could describe the future. For my first 2 years of university, when I was studying for archaeology, I got this from my teachers, like, well, something else I have to know in order to explain to people if someone asks me, so I know. But it was actually in the 3rd year when some people invite me to be part of a ceremony for the Mother Earth or Pachamama in August. They hire or they took a priest from the Andes. They did a really amazing ceremony. It was my first time watching that. Wow, I was so surprised. And at the end, this priest said, "Excuse me, chicos," and it was Lorenzo with me as well in that moment. He was studying as well. He said, "Chicos, do you want to know the future of each of you?" We were like, "How?" "I know to read the coca leaves." Okay, let's do it. So at the end, it was almost late, and the other ones left was Lorenzo and Johan. So we went together. Let's go together, man. I don't really believe in that things. So he came and he said, "Right, Lorenzo, look, you are starting a business. Look, you will have good luck. You will get an office. I see a couple of cars for you. Yeah, you will do it definitely really good. Look, everything is going okay for you." Right, yeah. Everything will be perfect. But look at this leaf. Look, it's dark, it's kind of broken in this part. This is actually a couple of accidents that you will have before you start to grow up. First of all, one tourist, and then one tour guide. When he was saying, "Yeah, everything will be okay, nice," we were like, this is coming. Most of the people say that. But when he said these accidents, we just freak out because I was already starting to guide with Lorenzo. I was guiding for Lorenzo. I was his, one of the 2 tour guides that he had at the beginning. I was like, what the hell? It was August, September, October, November. Everything was okay. I was guiding in the rainforest of Manu, a national park of Peru. I came back to Peru, to Cusco, said, "Lorenzo, I have the reports of the tour. The passengers already write it down. I want to give to you. Johan, could you call me later, please?" "Okay. Oh, Johan, I need you, please. Could you come to the hospital right now? Clínica Pardo." It's like, "Are you okay, Lorenzo?" Yeah, please come really fast." I went out of the airport. I took the taxi to this hospital. I thought something happened to Lorenzo, but he was actually outside with like 10 people, huge people in suit. I was like, what the hell is going on? I went in and said, "Lorenzo, what's going on?" "Well, Johan, I need you to talk with these guys. I don't understand their English really well, so please help me to translate a lot of things." Okay, pa. And one of the translations was that it wasn't the guide's fault. It wasn't the negligence of the tourist. So what the hell is going on? "No, Johan, do you remember August?" "Yeah, the ceremony and the priest and the coca leaves." "You remember he told us about the accident of one tourist?" "Yeah, it happened. One of our passengers fell down from a mountain, 180 meters down. In which tour? The Inca Jungle Trail, but in another option. On the third day we had the option to walk really fast, 5 a.m. to 12, have lunch, and in the afternoon climb a mountain, Putucusi right in front of Machu Picchu. I have like a panoramic, amazing panoramic view. But the first 20 minutes had like 11 ladders, wood steep ladders, and you need to climb like this with any safety thing, like harnesses or ropes or nothing. So we used to do that in the free time, like an option, instead, for example, of the zip line right now, that is something new. So guys, let's go to Putucusi Mountain. Okay, let's go. But the problem is that it was really clear. Okay guys, tomorrow we're doing this option too, but if it's raining for the mountain, we don't go. Right, Johan? So you will run that risk. Yes, right. They get there, and it was actually raining. And the guide, Juan Carlos, my cousin, was like, Johan, oh guys, we can't go. You can see it's raining. I told him in advance, and if it's raining, we don't go. Right, Juan Carlos, don't worry, we will go to the hot springs. So Juan Carlos went to take his shower, to relax, to have a nap, and he came back to the restaurant for dinner at 7 p.m. And no one was coming. 7:20. At 7:30 the police came. Juan Carlos, who's Juan Carlos? Okay, come on, hurry up. Like, what's going on? No, one of your passengers fell down from the mountain. Like, what the hell? So these people saw that the train stopped around 1 hour later, and they decided to went by themselves. The second ladder was called the fucking ladder. It was like 50 meters up, pure ladder. So when the wood is wet, it's really, really slippery. So this guy fell down like 180 meters. He was in coma for 3 days. The good part of this is that he didn't die. He been in hospital for another week, so almost 2 weeks. And after that, we came Lorenzo, Juan Carlos, and Johan, 3 tour guides for these passengers to Machu Picchu by train. And we actually climbed the mountain again, but together. And he actually reached the top. February, after that accident, one of the tour guides of Lorenzo, a new one, fell down in the bike and he dislocated his arm. So after that, we were like, coincidence or real? Okay, let's wait for August. Next August 1st, we were like, okay, let's see the Cocali. So we did the offer and everything so quick and said, okay, can we see the future? And he was like, yeah, look. Yeah, Lorenzo, you got the office. Yeah, I already got the office. And you have a car. Yeah, I already got a car as well. Yeah, everything will be perfect for you. No, this year is perfect at all. Yeah, Lorenzo, you will be perfect. Just get out. I need to talk with Johan. Say, hi, Johan, how are you doing? All perfect, working right. You have 2 important things here. Look, you have 1 chance of job. Don't lose it. And when you'll be in that work, just resist. Because that will be really important for you. Okay. But you have to take care with the things that you're doing. Why? I can see an accident for you. It's a big one. I just see an accident. Please take care. So it was August. I decided to work worse than a donkey, how we say in Peru, until December. January, February, March, April, then it's rainy season, I decided to rest. It was February 12th, so before some Valentine's. So I had some friends, Johan, what are you doing? I hanging in Cusco, man. Okay, my friend is arriving from Lima tomorrow. He want to do the Mega Avalanche. The Mega Avalanche is the most important mountain biking competition we have in South America. I won it 2 times, but in my category. In the general competition, the best Peruvian in the ranking is in the number 20 or 25. The best 20 are professionals of the real Red Bull team that is around the world. So for example, to give you an example, well, this competition is from the highest point we started yesterday, but to the Sacred Valley. Single tracks of this wide and this steep. My record is 25 minutes with 52 seconds, from 5,000 meters until 2,000 meters. 25 minutes. The record of the best Peruvian rider is 22 minutes. The best record until the moment in the general is 18 minutes, 15 seconds. So,
How many meters?
3,000 meters. Like.
That's
But with
insane.
shortcuts, ramps, so it's extreme.
Yeah.
So he said, Johan, he's arriving from Lima, he wanna do the mega avalanche, but like a tour, and not like in a race. Say, okay, we go, we just hire a car and we go, my bike is okay. So I installed my bike that night, and next morning we leave early with all our equipment, we start racing, we did like 3 times. So then we decide to do videos. Right, let's do videos in the ramp. Flat, jumping, tricks, falls. And in one of these falls, because it's just crossing the road, like taking shortcuts, I had a problem with my front brake. It was cut by a branch, so the liquid, because it was a hydraulic brake, went off. So when I need to use it, I didn't have brakes. So it was bent like this, where that you really need to help with leaning your body and stuff like that. I was like, I fell down like 65 meters. I wake up in the hospital. I've been in bed for 5 months. 4 ribs broken, disloced, broken.
Oh my god.
I was like this for 5 months. Even in order to go toilet, my sister came to Cusco and helped me even to go for toilet.
What?
It was horrible.
Wait, were you in a coma for 5 months?
Yeah, in a bed. Yeah.
But you were like you.
No,
were,
no, I was
oh,
in bed
okay,
at home.
You were okay.
I was in coma for
That's what I-
hours. Well,
Yeah.
unconscious
Yeah.
because of fall. After this, I was like, no, this is real. So I just got better and I went to the community of these guys in Patacancha, 5,200 meters. So I've been living with this community for 1 month. So when I just arrived by horse, everybody was like, excuse me sir, where are you going? In Quechua. So like, hi, my name is Johan, I'm looking for Mr. Alberto. No, but you can't be here. Why? This place is not for white people. I was like, what the hell? I got 15 years, so 10 of school and 5 university discrimination for my color. And you will call me white now? No, sir. It's your spirit. You have a white spirit. And this is not for you. Then Alberto came. No, let him pass. He's my friend. He's Johan. And everybody was like, is he Johan? Yeah, he's Johan. And everybody were like, Johan, hi, how are you? How are you doing? I was like, what the hell is going on? They will sacrifice me or what? I arrived to the house and I said, first of all, how come some of the people know me? Johan, you know, we did a ceremony on August 1st. The next big ceremony after that is in December 22nd. That is the half year. Because New Year for us is June 21st. June 21st, December 22nd, summer and winter solstice. So these people did their normal ceremony, and after that these guys sacrificed a white baby llama in order to protect me. This guy was so thankful with me because I was giving job like to 10 of his sons, like porters in the Inca Trail. So he was so thankful with us. I said, Johan, no, I did a ceremony for yourself, for you, in order to protect you. So when we did the ceremony, you normally get the llama and you just kind of pray to the main god, and then you have to say like Hai, and they say your name, like Hai Johan, and the whole people, this part of the community has to repeat Hai Johan, Hai. So that's why all the people had my name in their mind. So he explained me this, so that's when I decided to learn a little bit more of this. I learned more than these little things. I learned customs, traditions, and religion of real Quechua people, because these people never had contact with the conquerors. All the way they still live in, the way how is the organization, the transportation, the communication, the food, the festivities, even the work, they still having the obligatory work for the community benefit. So they still doing it. So in this month I learned 80% of the things that I know right now in this community. That's when I start to believe in the coca leaves, and actually that's when I turn into the Quechua's religion. Of course, in order to be a Quechua, you don't have to get baptized, go Sunday to your church, pray, or stuff like the regular religions that we have right now. The Quechua religion is basically related with nature, to respect nature. So in my case, if I'm the nature like 99.9 of my life, I'm in the nature, in the outdoor, in the backcountry of Peru. So most of the times, part of my religion is to respect nature, to work together with nature and make people learn and respect nature as well. So it was with this little part of my personal life I started to believe more into this religion. I learned a lot of things. Actually, that was my thesis for the university, the Cocalypse and the Future. And actually, that's when I start to believe that it's possible, or at least for some people, and it was completely possible in the Quechua's time, that these people could predict the time. If the Incas could see the future, why they didn't take care about the conquerors? Actually, these people knew that the conquerors were coming thanks to the Cocalypse. But the Cocalypse wouldn't say, look, they're coming and they're conquerors. Some new people coming. One of the biggest benefits that the conquerors had in order to kill the different Quechua and Incas that we had here, because it's hard to believe how comes that 80 millions of population fell down against 420 conquerors. So one of the biggest reasons is that in that moment they were like divided. They were in a civil war. It was one brother fighting against the other in order to get the control of this state. The brother from the north part of the state of Quito is Atahualpa. The brother from Cusco is Huasca. So they had a civil war. So when the Pacos saw, it's not new people coming, what Atahualpa and Huascar told them these one were people and they were related with gods or something like that, and it was coming to bring peace to this place. And actually they didn't know what to expect, what these people were. So when the conquerors arrived, they saw them since the first minute and they give their first step in Peru. They knew where they were camping, where they were sleeping, what they were eating, everything. But what it really make a big confusion in the Quechua people is that they came from the sea. According with our traditions in Peru, our main god is Huiracocha. Huiracocha one day was a regular person. He teach everything to the living people and then he went into the sea. That's why seal conch, sea life is so important for all the cultures in general in Peru. So to see big people, white people, shining people because they're armors, riding these big animals and they never seen in their lives and coming from the sea, just create a big confusion in the Quechua people and they thought that these guys were gods. That's why the first meeting between conquerors and Quechuas was actually, the first meeting was with the Inca. The Inca from the north, the brother from the north went to talk to them and actually show them that he should be the king and not his brother from Cusco. So first thing that the conquerors did was to give to the Inca, because he saw that he was the leader, all the people was carrying him, he just gave it a Bible. The Inca got a Bible, he smiled, he saw it and he just dropped it. For the conquerors, because they were really big Catholic people, that was like a big offense. So they just start fighting and they just kill all the estatal elite of this Inca. Because the Inca went with his important people, not with warriors, because he was meeting his gods, not someone else. So that's why, since first moment that conquerors and Quechua people had their first meeting, the Inca of the north was already a prisoner. So that's how they just start to have the control of this state, since the first days then they arrived to Peru. So the Incas knew that the conquerors were coming. Now a lot of people, and they are still reading the Cocalypse, they are predicting something similar to the Maya's prediction. No end of the world is actually called for us Pachacuti. Pacha is earth, Kuti is to clean. So the cleaning of the earth. They already saw this in the 16th century when the conquerors came. So they are watching this again. Has a small relation between the Mayas prediction. So this is how the Incas were using the coca leaves. Do you guys have any questions? Well, in the last 100 years, 150 years, the coca leaves were being used for the cocaine. Another really big company started to use the coca leaves and create a really famous medicinal drink. That it was really good for nervous system and the good work of your brain. After 25 years, they saw that it wasn't that good for business, so they switched the different ingredients for bubbles and sugar. So that's what we have right now, the really famous Coca-Cola. At the beginning, it was a medicinal drink. Then now we have a lot of medicinal brands, companies, and they use the coca leaves for different creams, for the muscle, for the stomach. Now you know that it's really good for altitude. A lot of tourists use them for teas, for chewing, for candies, for cakes, even for beer. We have coca beer in Cusco. So that's how the coca is being used the last years, right? Do you guys have any questions about the coca?
So you're saying Coca's, they still use it, Coca-Cola still use coca leaves?
Yeah,
that right, what
they
you're
are still using right now coca leaves, but from this leaf they get like 10 bottles. So it's
That's
like a
not
really
much.
small percentage, but they are still using the
Crazy.
coca leaves. Now, maybe you can try it in the uphill that we have left, is if the coca leaves work or no. They say when you chew them, they give you some energy. So what does the people normally do? They get 1, 2, 3 coca leaves, they chew them for 5 minutes. I don't feel anything, and they split it off. It's because that's not the way how you guys have to chew the leaves. Actually, what you need are 15 to 20 leaves in your mouth.
Whoa.
The way how you have to chew them is to get the stamp that is coming out of the leaf and leave it like this. If you can do this, some other easier way, just get the stamp of the leaf and you take it off, at least the bottom, then is the wider part. Why do we do this? In order to don't make it annoying when we are chewing the leaves. As I tell you, we need like 15 to 20 leaves in your mouth. You have to chew them for 5 to 10 minutes. When you do it like a regular, or a small masa, a tiny piece of coca leaf, you just keep it. Sorry, maybe this looks close. Right here or here for the next 20 minutes. And then is when you start feeling the effects of the coca leaves.
Cool.
So it takes at least half an hour to feel the effects of the coca.
Wow.
I will start.
So the people who would like to try the coca leaves, you can actually do it from here. These leaves are really fresh. We mean fresh because they just finished to dry 2-3 days ago. Not like the ones you can buy in Cusco, like 1 to 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So the way how to grab it, when, for example, we do it in group, is to get in your hand and be doing it one at a time. This little thing to be chewing coca leaves in a group is called halpa. The halpa also means dessert. The coca were a really important complement of the king family feeding. When they were having